And now, nerds, let's bring it on home with the rumor mill. This week we have Wesley Snipes, his role being rumored in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. We have Jon Hamm is trying to find his way into the 616 proper somehow. And we have a couple of confirmations to talk about. We don't get those super often, so that's pretty great. Let's get into it.
It's classified.
Hello, nerds, and welcome to the Rumor Mill. You have found the appropriate cheat code to get to the news before it becomes news. Here, we will discuss rumors in the pop culture and nerdy realm of things. Then we will discuss the probability that those rumors are legitimate. And then finally, probably a little bit of my own personal speculation. If you want the more concrete news that has already become news, then there is a full news show over on the main channel called The Week in Nerddom, which you can find linked down in the description, as well as at the end of this video. Now, let's see what all of those rumor mongers have to say, and which of them are just plain full of poop.
So, let's kick things off with the confirmations and refutations subsection of the rumor mill. And confirmations, we have two of them this week. We have two confirmations, first of which, Avengers 5. Doctor Strange is going to be one of the characters in Avengers 5. This one has been rumored for some time, and the entire character cast is being rumored currently. But this one is actually confirmed from the actor himself. Benedict Cumberbatch has said that he cannot wait to start filming next year. So 2025 is when they're going to start filming Avengers 5. And then Spaceballs 2. We already talked about it in the movie section, just kind of reassuring you that yes, in fact, Spaceballs 2 is going to be happening. It has been written by Josh Gad and will be produced by Mel Brooks himself. So hopefully that's a good combination of things, though Gad, it's kind of 50-50. So that's what we got for confirmation reputation. Let's talk about news sources for old rumors. And we actually have two gaming rumors this time, both of which coming from new data mines for Mortal Kombat 1. So we have another news source. This one's a little bit more specific, and it's a new data mine, because for a while, the rumor is that Sektor, Cyrax, and Noob Saibot are going to be the Mortal Kombat characters for the next DLC pack, and then the guest characters, which there's 3 of them as well, for the next DLC are going to be Ghostface, T-1000, and Conan the Barbarian. So again, the Conan one just seems super weird to me, but at this point, I think it's actually just happening. I don't know why, but it is. But yeah, originally this was data mined. I think the first data mine for this came from the Thinny, and then Interloco confirmed it because he is also a data miner for the Mortal Kombat scene. But then these characters were removed from the code. So the data mine, like I've said before, just because the stuff exists in the code for the game does not mean it is going to be in the code for the game for any sort of playable purposes. They could have left it in. There could have been contracts that fell through, like we saw with Ash in the last game. Any number of reasons why a data mine could prove false or could prove not actually happened, even though at the time that it was data mined, it was true. Or maybe it's just a red herring that the production staff is putting in to throw off data miners. All of these things are possibilities. So yeah, Cyrax, Sektor, and Noob Saibot all coming in the next DLC, plus guest characters Conan, Ghostface from the Scream franchise, T-1000 from the Terminator franchise. If you remember originally, when this was first rumored, T-1000 was supposed to be voiced by the actor who played the T-1000 in the original Terminator 2 movie. Plus, he also plays Peacemaker's dad in the Peacemaker series. I can't remember his name because there's way too much stuff going on between my ears right now. It's just not a name that was easily retained. Either way. And then we have another Mortal Kombat rumor that just came out this morning, I think, or it was yesterday. I can't remember. But the other Mortal Kombat news, or other Mortal Kombat rumor rather, is another old rumor that's kind of resurfacing, that's being fed into by people who are more closely associated with the Mortal Kombat franchise. Specifically, one of the developers for the HD remaster originally has tweeted out new screenshots of the HD remaster of the arcade era of the games. So Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, presumably 3 including Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. So again, this is a rumor that's been floating around for some time. It's just picking up a little bit of steam because developers are getting in on the action. So seems slightly more likely we might actually be getting the HD remaster we've been hoping for. What version of the HD remaster very much remains to be seen, because if you remember, we had one version in like 2016, 2017 that got axed because of Mortal Kombat 11, because the release dates would have been very close together. So Warner Brothers and or NetherRealm Studios said, we can't release both of these games so close together. They're going to cannibalize each other's sales, which they obviously don't know how this community works. But that version was new digitized sprites. It was not they did not build the arena. They did not build the characters in 3D. It was just the original concept for the style of the game with new digitized sprites so that it was made for HD screens. And then that died and we got another remaster situation from a third-party developer that was going to be the digitized, or the 3D version that I just said, where the backgrounds are going to be a render more than they are an image, or a series of images, because they got the parallax action, and the sprites are not going to be sprites, they're going to be actually 3D rendered characters. So both of these things were in development to some degree. I think the one that we have the most screenshots from is the 3D, or the 2.5D, I guess is what it would technically be considered. The 2.5D version is the one most recently under development, and also the one that I believe Warner Brothers or NetherRealm paid for some of the development of that version, and then they pulled the carpet out from underneath it, like in the 11th hour almost. So yeah, one of those two things is going to happen. If I had to bet on which one, I would say probably the 2.5D remaster version. But that's all things we've already talked about. Let's get into the new rumors, right? The stuff that you're just champing at the bit. All right, so new rumor first. New rumor: Batman, Brave and the Bold, the live action introduction of James Gunn's Batman into the DCU that was supposed to be directed by Andy Muschietti, who did It and a number of other things, right? Rumor is that Muschietti's out. He is no longer directing the film. No announcement as to who is going to be directing the film, but we know it's not going to be Muschietti, if you want to believe the rumor. And I would be slightly inclined to believe this one. It's come from a couple of very well-to-do rumor mongers who don't have a track record of being that wrong. Like, yes, nobody's perfect, and some of the information dies, but it's again two sources, RPK, and I can't remember who the other one was right offhand because I don't write those down at all, but yeah, two sources with a pretty good batting average. So we're gonna say about 65% likely. The reason I didn't go higher than that is just because Muschietti is kind of Warner Brothers wonderkind right now. So I think he's one of those directors that if he's not doing Brave and the Bold, he's going to move into something else in the DCU. So writing him off completely, I think, is not fair. But yeah, him leaving this project because Flash didn't do super great, he also directed Flash, kind of makes sense, but I don't think he'll be gone for long. Anyway, moving on. Next rumor is actually two different rumors rolled into one because they both have to do with Jon Hamm wanting to find his way into the Marvel Universe, the MCU, the 616, as they say. The first rumor says that he just is going to be, he's actively in conversation with the people at Disney Marvel, and he's going to be in the universe at some point. And then another rumor monger kind of came along and said, well, he's actually already signed a contract and he's going to be playing Mr. Sinister in the X-Men movie. So we're going to take this in two different likelihoods. The first likelihood that he is headed to Marvel is super likely because he's said as much, he has implied as much by saying he wants to be in Marvel in a number of interviews. 75% likely he's actively in conversations to do something at Marvel. Yeah, that seems super likely. The other half of this, though, is that he's going to be playing Mr. Sinister, rather. I think that's fairly unlikely at this point. I think because the most likely scenario is he's actively negotiating a contract. To say that he is going to be Mr. Sinister is far too early in the game to do that. I also don't know that he would be the choice for Sinister, just because he's a little bit on the older side as far as where Feige wants to go with rebooting the X-Men in live action. So we're going to say 40% likely that we will be seeing Jon Hamm play Mr. Sinister. Will he be in the MCU? Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. Will he be playing Mr. Sinister? I don't think that's super likely. From there, we have Ghost Rider. This is one that's kind of been going around for different actors, and now we have a new rumor saying that the current actor set to play Johnny Blaze is in fact Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling is said to be announced as cast for the role is going to be when they announce the cast for the Midnight Suns movie. We do know the Midnight Suns movie is happening, so that at least is credibility. We also know that Ryan Gosling likes to do weird stuff, and I think Ghost Rider's kind of up there in the weird as far as what Marvel has to offer with the mainline characters. So yeah, that kind of lines up too, though this is a very weak source, so we can't go too high. We're going to say 60% likely that we'll be seeing Ryan Gosling playing the Ghost Rider in the MCU. As far as how it gets announced, I don't know that that necessarily factors into the likelihood whatsoever, but interesting nonetheless. Next up is Nightmare on Elm Street. We have rumors around horror movies now that Blumhouse and Atomic Monster have merged. This is the rumored first movie between the merged company. Nightmare on Elm Street is, it's been around for a long time. The rumor does elaborate on the fact that it's going to be more than just the Blumhouse Atomic Monster merger that's feeding into this. We have New Line Cinema is rumored to be involved with it, as well as Lee Cronin, who directed the Evil Dead Rise franchise. This is one of my weakest sources. So as much sense as all of that makes, as much sense, like this is definitely not the one with the worst track record, but the one that I go back to the most regularly that has a fairly bad track record. Anyway, as much as I want this to be a thing, and as much as it makes sense, assuming all of this information is correct, if New Line Cinema is in on it, if we got Lee Cronin, the Evil Dead Rise director, in on it, and Blumhouse Atomic Monster is footing the bill primarily, that all lines up to a certain degree, but you're taking somebody at their word for a lot of it, and so we can only go 50% on this one. Like, I want to go higher so much, but 50% is the only bit that it makes sense. From there, we have another gaming rumor. This is from, gaming rumors, generally speaking, are pretty likely to happen. We have Wolverine, Weapon X version of Wolverine, because Wolverine's already been in Fortnite. That's what we're talking about, Fortnite. So the Weapon X version of Logan is going to be finding his way into Fortnite sometime soon. I saw a screenshot, or a render rather, of the character build, which could be, fan art, because it's a pretty distinctive style. It's pretty easy to replicate. So that's not 100% confirmation until, the people at Fortnite or Epic Games go, yeah, we're putting them in there. But yeah, so the future is going to be really interesting for Fortnite players, because Weapon X version of Wolverine's great. 90% likely that we're going to see this. I don't think we've seen any of these Fortnite leaks not come to fruition, so just makes sense. And then our next one has to do with Deadpool and Wolverine, the movie that is, hopefully going to save the MCU. Probably not, but, Feige can wish. Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine. We have Wesley Snipes. This is not the first time Wesley Snipes has been rumored to be in this movie. This rumor, though, takes it a bit further, which is why we didn't put it in the new sources for old rumors, because this one isn't that Wesley Snipes is going to be in the movie. This one kind of considers that a foregone conclusion. The rumor here is that we're going to see Wesley Snipes with some sort of supporting role in the movie. No, there is a sliver of possibility that this could happen. Emphasis on sliver. I think even the percentage I have here for this one is a bit generous. There is a lot of stuff that has leaked out about this, like legitimate stuff that has leaked out about this. We've got a lot of on-set pictures that have leaked out. We've got a lot of confirmed things that we've been able to see as far as who's going to be involved that have been confirmed with the actual production behind the scenes pictures that have been released. So none of that. At some point you would think that Wesley Snipes would have made an appearance in some of the BTS stuff, and he hasn't at all. There is a character, or there is an actor in one of the pictures that looks like, I think it was actually a still from the teaser, that looks like a version of Blade. But if you remember, there was a TV version of Blade for like a quarter of a season at some point. I believe it was on Fox way forever ago, and not a lot of people remember it. But the guy that played Blade in that show is who looks like they found on that still frame. So I'll see if I can find the still frame so that I can show you on screen for those of you watching the episode. But yeah, it's Wesley Snipes. I'm pretty sure he has even said himself that he's not going to be making an appearance. Like explicitly said, no, I'm not, I have nothing to do with this production. So yeah, 35% likely Wesley Snipes is going to be supporting role in this. Oh my God, no. Like I said, 35% is a little bit generous, and I don't know, I feel like being generous, I guess. All right, so then our next rumor has to do with Spider-Man 4. Again, this one's two separate rumors, so we're going to approach them as such. Our first rumor is that the Venom symbiote is going to be in the movie, in spite of what we saw in the trailer, in spite of what we saw from the Venom trailer. Because if you remember in the Venom trailer, you see Chweddle Ejiofor's, there's an L at the end of that name. Chweddle Ejiofor's character comes in with a vial and puts the vial over the symbiote at the bar that we saw Eddie Brock leave at the end of the second Venom movie when he was in the 616 and then he went back to his universe. So assuming, all right, the scene in that trailer, according to this rumor, is a fake scene that doesn't actually happen in this movie, and the Venom doesn't actually happen. So in the Spider-Man 4 movie, the Venom symbiote gets loose, and we see it interact with Peter Parker. That seems slightly like it might be a thing. But then the second rumor here is that Miles Morales is going to be in Spider-Man 4. I think this is the first time we've heard it explicitly said that way, because previously there have been rumors saying that we're going to get implications or something like a cameo spot for Miles Morales, but this rumor is saying that Miles Morales is going to play some sort of integral part, however small that may be, in the movie of Spider-Man 4. So also, I think I even saw a subtitle, Spider-Man 4 New Home. That's not happening. Absolutely, that's not happening. But as far as the Venom symbiote rumor, we're going to say that's about 70% likely. Like, it's not the first time, it wouldn't be the first time rather, that Marvel has done shifty things with trailers where they put in extra scenes to throw us off the scent. So that seems like something that Marvel would do, but this is Sony, so I feel like 70% is fairly generous. As far as Miles Morales being in the movie, this is a really, really poor source. But it kind of, again, social justice checkbox and whatnot, I think that is going to play a factor in it. And also, they want to try and hedge their bets, because Tom Holland's not going to play Peter Parker forever. He has said he likes to play Peter Parker and he'll do it for a long time. But if they can hedge their bets and maybe start to spin off things and make Miles Morales live action Spider-Man movies, then I think they're going to try and do that. So that kind of lends one to believe that that rumor has a little bit of credibility. So we can't like disprove it. And honestly, I think we're going just above the I want to sit the fence and it could go either way. I think there is a little bit more in favor of this, but emphasis on little bit. We're going to say 55% likely that we're going to be seeing Miles Morales in Spider-Man 4. That just, there's enough there if you look at the current situation, the social justice situation in Disney Marvel and Kevin Feige, that just seems to line up. So that's what we got. That brings us to the end of the Rumor Mill, nerds. I appreciate you guys for sticking around all the way through, but yeah, no more rumors. Let's move on.
That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.